Yes, I'm the one person in the room who raised his hand when asked who makes more than $1 million a year. But it wasn't always that way. I spent the first 59 years of my life solidly in the 99%. Then 6 years ago, the American dream came true for me, and I suddenly found myself in the 1%. In this time when economic inequality has grown to exaggerated proportions by decades of so-called supply-sided economics, when so many people are struggling to keep their jobs and their homes and care for their families, I believe that every American who can help has a responsibility to do so. I've lived on both sides of what, unfortunately, has become the great economic divide in our country. And I'm here to say that it is much easier, of course, for the 1% to carry the burden of that responsibility, and therefore I support the Millionaires tax. For me, and people like me, an extra 3% or 5% in taxes is not going to make one bit of difference in how I live my life. And by bringing $6 to $9 billion in new revenues to California for public schools and important social services, the Millionaires tax will make a difference in the lives of many. Let me take just a minute to share a little bit more about my life. When I was 30 years old, married with 2 small children, I realized I needed to start a new career and be a responsible parent. And so I started night school, I got a master's degree in computer science, and I became a software engineer. I quickly realized that I had started too late in life to ever earn enough to save and be able to retire. But I realized I could maybe join a startup and get some stock options and make it that way. I joined 6 different startups in my life. 5 of them failed. In the year 2000, I came out to California to take part in the dot-com boom as part of that dream, hoping I would make it work here. 6 weeks after I got here, the dot-com boom turned into the dot-com bust. I did have a job, and I worked for 10 more months, and then, along with tens of thousands of other people just like me, but much younger, I was laid off. I then found myself looking for a job where thousands of people half my age were looking for the same job, and I had very little hope. But somehow, my resume landed at a small company of 200 people. I got an interview, and I got a job at a little company named Google. 4 years later, I was able to retire. And overnight, I have jumped from the 99% to the 1%. The first thing I did was I gave a substantial portion of my sum to family members, and I became involved in charitable giving. I will not forget what it's like to be part of the 99%.
All right.
Now I'm proud to be here with my husband as a member of the Courage Campaign, and we are both supporters of the Millionaires tax. I invite people who have been lucky enough, like me, to find ourselves in a fortunate financial position. I invite them to help in this campaign too. Better funding for public schools and services in the interests of everyone are in the interests of everyone. It is important for all of us to participate in this recovery, and it is most important for those of us who can afford to do it to pay the bigger part. The Millionaires tax provides a way to make our society a better place. I am happy to help, and we urge our fellow 1%ers to do the same. It's easy. Just go to millionairestaxca.com and sign up. Thank you.